Let's bring in NBC News correspondent Jesse Kirsch. He's outside NYU Langone Hospital in Brooklyn. And Jesse, the shooting taking place during the morning rush hour commute, parents taking their kids to school, workers getting off to their jobs, a mad rush to get off that train and out of the station. And some of those victims were actually taken to NYU, that hospital where you are. What do you know about the victims and how they're doing at this hour?
Yeah, Vicky, we actually have an updated victim count. Here at NYU Langone alone in Brooklyn, officials from the hospital tell us they have treated 21 people. Now, that is compared to the 16 injured that the mayor just shared a short time ago with Hallie Jackson on MSNBC. So that gives you a sense of how fluid this situation is, that we're getting a higher victim count here at the hospital than what the mayor is saying overall. And we know that people were taken to multiple medical facilities. Everyone who was treated here, we're told, is in stable condition. 10 of those victims have already been released as well. And the injuries range from smoke inhalation up to and including some people who have had gunshot wounds amongst those who were shot at the scene. But again, we're told 10 people have already been released from the hospital. 11 of them are still being treated here. And we also know from the hospital that some family members have come to be with their loved ones here.
And so far, thankfully, Jesse, no fatalities. Can you tell us what you know about the ongoing investigation at this point? We know that certain items were left behind by the gunman. We're hearing the gas mask, the gun he actually used. So talk to us about how that could really help them more quickly identify who this was.
Yeah, law enforcement sources telling NBC News that police found at the scene what they believe to be the shooter's gun, a bag with smoke canisters and fireworks. They also, according to officials, did not find gasoline cans. There were some reports about the smell of gasoline, so making clear that there were not gasoline cans found. We also know that the mayor just talked about this a short time ago as well. There appears to have been some kind of issue with surveillance video at the train station, perhaps on the train. So that may be getting in the way of the investigation on some level. But we also know authorities are looking for a vehicle at this point, which they believe to have been tied to this incident. And obviously, there's a lot of scrutiny around the subway, around crime in cities across the country. But certainly here in New York, in the subway, there have been multiple high-profile incidents recently. And so you can imagine authorities are really trying to rush to apprehend whoever's responsible for this. But it sounds like there are some issues tied to the fact that they don't have as much evidence to be going off of as they would like because of that video issue.
Jesse, for people who are just picking up on this news right now, we've been seeing some of the images, the user-generated video, right, of people just rolling on their phones as this was unfolding. How are witnesses describing the chaos of this morning and what they saw?
Yeah, I mean, and Vicky, when we look at these images, right, I mean, a hazy scene on a New York subway tunnel, blood, people clearly grabbing at wounds with those dark red patches on their clothing. It's shocking to see in a very busy metropolitan train system. And to understand this was happening around 8:30 in the morning, we're told. That's during the morning rush hour. Lots of people utilize the subway in New York. It is a crucial form of transportation for so many people. Kids would have been going to school. I talked to some teenagers who say they were on their way on another train on their way to school this morning when this all unfolded and had to get off at a separate station because of what unfolded. Thankfully, they are okay. But there could have been countless children. There could have been countless people going to work. That train was heading uptown from Brooklyn into Manhattan and would have been going right into the heart of Midtown, where so many people work, and even as we're still in the middle of the pandemic and so many people still work from home, you can imagine there would have been many people heading into the office at that hour. One person who witnessed this all unfolding called it like a horror show. We wanted to listen into what some people who were witnessing this violence this morning had to say for themselves. Here's what they said.
Well, I was on the level above the platform. So I wasn't on the platform itself. What I saw was a young guy run up to the station booth, and he was bleeding from the legs. I think it seemed like his pants were down, and he was tending to his wounds. But otherwise, he seemed like he was, it seemed like he was okay. I mean, I'm hoping he's all right. And then he was essentially just alerting people to what happened. He was saying there's been people injured, they're bleeding. You think of this neighborhood as being a little out of the way, so for and I didn't know anything about this. I've only been learning bits and pieces as I've been talking to reporters, basically. So, to find out that this was some kind of mass shooting event just feels like a real shock. It's not where you would expect someone to be trying to make a big scene like that. Maybe, certainly there could be an incident, but something that seems intended to have this kind of effect, is it's kind of like, it seems almost laughable in a sense, like when you see when they have security, checking, you're more normally thinking of Manhattan.
And again, at this hour, New York police are still searching for whoever is responsible for this, Vicki.
All right, Jesse Kirsch, thank you for that update. We appreciate it.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.